All right, so this, of course, is the big breaking story at the moment. The Americans have captured Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro in a late-night swoop onto Caracas. Now, the American president has said that he saw the American forces and the CIA operatives capturing Nicolas Maduro live and described watching Nicolas Maduro be captured as watching some kind of a television series. Now, the American Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has said that Nicolas Maduro will now face the full wrath of the American justice system. The Bondi said that Maduro and his wife will face justice on American soil and in American courts. And she called the Venezuelan president an alleged international narco-trafficker. The Pam Bondi also stated that Nicolas Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism and cocaine importation conspiracy in the United States. Now remember, the United States said that Nicolas Maduro leads a drug cartel. This is what the Americans claim, called the Cartel de los Soles, which translates to the Cartel of the Suns. The name is derived from the sun insignia that is used by Venezuelan generals on their uniforms instead of the traditional stars. The U.S. has charged Nicolas Maduro with drug trafficking and what it describes as narco-terrorism in March 2020. This was during Trump's first presidential term. The first Trump administration had also offered a $15 million reward for information that could lead to Maduro's capture. When Nicolas Maduro won the disputed Venezuelan elections in early January 2025, America's outgoing Joe Biden administration had raised the bounty on Nicolas Maduro to $25 million. On the 7th of August in 2025, the second Trump administration had further increased the bounty. They doubled it to $50 million, and Attorney General Pam Bondi has accused Maduro of collaborating with other drug cartels like the Tren de la Aragua and the Sinaloa cartel. The Trump administration had already designated those drug cartels as foreign terror groups. Finally, effective from the 24th of November 2025, the so-called Cartel of the Suns was also designated as a foreign terror outfit. The U.S. has also explicitly stated that Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, was the head of the terror group. And now it seems that Maduro's capture has paved the way for the United States to imprison him on grounds of terrorism and drug trafficking charges. And Nicolas Maduro has served as the president of Venezuela since April 2013. He took over after the death of Venezuela's longtime leader, Hugo Chavez, before rising to power. Maduro had reportedly worked as a bus driver and then also as a union leader. And on your screen are images from Caracas. We are keeping a close watch on the fast-paced developments that are unfolding. So these are the images in the hours after the American bombings and the attacks. And this is the scale of the damage that has been effected because of the American bombings there. All right, so these are some of the images that are coming in from the places that were struck by the Americans when they swooped in to try to capture Nicolas Maduro. Now, remember, more details are awaited. Donald Trump said that he watched the capture of Nicolas Maduro live as it was broadcast to him by his forces, and he said that it was like watching some kind of a television drama series. That's how he has described it. We'll, of course, be hearing from the American president, and Pam Bondi, the American Attorney General, is still insisting that Nicolas Maduro has been captured by the Americans because they wanted to bring him to justice because of the narco-trafficking charges that the Americans have leveled against him. Now, to tell us what the scene is like in Caracas in Venezuela, we are being joined all the way from Caracas, Venezuela, by Mr. Jose Chalup. He's an energy and a political analyst at the Jose Pereo and Associates. Sir, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. And let me in fact start off by asking you this. Tell us what the mood and the scene is like at this moment in Caracas in Venezuela in the aftermath of these American bombings and the American capture of Nicolas Maduro.
Yes, thank you very much for your invitation, sir. And yes, well, it's very confusing at the moment, very tense in the city. I mean, it's something really unprecedented. I mean, because we have never seen. I mean, I'm Venezuelan. I was born and raised here in Venezuela, and we have never seen images like the ones we saw last night. I mean, they caught us by all Venezuelans by surprise. I mean, although personally I saw it coming, these type of attacks, airstrikes, which were targeting key military sites and units in the capital city of Venezuela, Caracas. But the current situation in Caracas remains pretty much confusing. Military took control of the different streets and ways of the city. Uh, Apparently, the entrance to the capital is closed for now. Yeah, it's very confusing for now, the situation, because it's really unclear
Right.
what will happen next. We're waiting to see the statement by President Trump on the operation that carried out in Caracas.
Right. Now, Mr. Chalub, you're joining us from Caracas, the city, the Venezuelan capital from where Nicolas Maduro was captured by the Americans. Do we at this point of time know as to where Nicolas Maduro was? Was he in his presidential house at the time when the Americans began the bombing and then came in to, as how the Americans say, to capture him? Was he in his presidential house at the time that he was picked up by the Americans?
Yeah, it appears so. Although, yeah, considering his situations, his security situation, and all the security rings surrounding him and the rest of the presidential team, it's natural, and it's been said that he's been moving between different places, including the presidential palace. And yes, definitely, this was a very special operation carried allegedly by the U.S. Which was certainly some of the scenarios that personally and alongside here that happened of and his wife.
Right. There are some connectivity issues there, Mr. Chalub. We just lost you for a bit there, but you were telling us that Nicolas Maduro, because of the prevalent security situation, was moving from one residence to another. He could have been at his presidential palace at the time that he was picked up by the Americans. Mr. Chalub, looking at how the Americans have carried out this entire operation, where it was a couple of months back that Donald Trump had said that he has authorized the CIA to carry out ground operations inside of Venezuela. The fact that the Americans were able to do something like this, do you think the inner perimeter of Nicolas Maduro, of his security layer, could have been infiltrated by the CIA, which is what has perhaps resulted in the Americans being able to track where he was and then pick him up at a time of their choosing?
Yes, and by the way, look, type of information fact and reports on the streets and from different sources. I mean, it looks like it was sort of a negotiation, to hand out President Maduro, because of his governmental team is here. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is in Moscow currently, and would be the next interim president for now. But yeah, it looked like it was some sort of a negotiated exit and taking control of Maduro and his wife and taken into custody in New York in the U.S.
You're suggesting that this may have been a negotiation by Maduro, that he could have turned himself in to the American forces? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So in the absence of Nicolas Maduro, who's in charge of Venezuela at the moment?
Well, legally and based on the current constitution, the absence of the president, and if there's any type of vacuum of power, I mean, then and at this moment is the Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, who is in Macau by the time of this recent situation. This comes speaking.
All right, interesting. So you say the vice president is now in charge in the absence of the president. The connection is sometimes there and sometimes not. So my final question to you, Mr. Chalu, is this. Now, at this moment, tell us about what the mood is like within Venezuela. Do the Venezuelan people think that this is the end of the American campaign of attacks on Venezuela, and this is where everything ends and people, the common people, can go back to living their normal lives? Or do they expect more attacks from the Americans, and there could be an insurgency if the Americans decide to continue with this campaign of bombing?
Clear, very uncertain. Yeah, I mean, the mood is really unclear. Plan of uncertainty will happen next in Caracas and across the country in different cities. But the situation and the tension is pretty much more felt in Caracas because it's the capital and where the strike happened last night. But the mood is really unclear. Personally, I think that there's not going to be more attacks coming from the U.S. because one of the most important goals, which was to take control of Maduro, was carried out. Now, the real question will be if Trump pushes forward to take out the rest of the government, like Diosdado Cabello, the current Minister of Interior, the Minister of Defense, Vladimir Patrino Lopez, and the President of the National Assembly, or if there's going to be any type of negotiation with the Rodriguez to see what will happen next, or if there's going to be a total regime change movement and install Maria Corina Machado and the current Nobel Peace Prize and Edmundo González Urrutia as the new government.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned Maria Corina Machado. You know, she was someone who was in the running for the presidency, but then she had to flee from the country, claiming persecution. If the United States tries to impose a leader like Maria Corina Machado on the Venezuelan people, do you expect that there could be an uprising against an American effort to helicopter drop a leader to lead Venezuela?
Well, the most important concern for Venezuelans right now is the economic crisis, and certainly there will be economic adjustments with any new potential government, because there's going to be new adjustments, new economic measures, new lifting of controls of prices, like in any other situation of political change. And after years of economic crisis in Venezuela. So definitely this is the most important concern. And if there's going to be any new type of government led by Maria Corina Machado or Edmundo González, in this case,
right,
that'll improve in the middle or the longer term the economic situation, that they will not carry out any type of uprising.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Mr. Jose Chalu, for joining us all the way from Caracas in Venezuela. Sometimes we did lose the connection with you there, but you've made some significant points of the situation at this moment in Caracas in Venezuela. Meanwhile, these are live images that we are getting from Caracas in Venezuela, where the people are out on the streets. A lot of them, remember, are still looking for answers in this very, some would say, an unexpected sort of an American operation where they've swooped in, picked up the Venezuelan president of a sovereign nation, and have then taken him and his family outside Venezuela to what Pam Bondi, the American Attorney General, says is to face the American justice system, where Nicolas Maduro faces charges of narco trafficking and narco-terrorism. These are some significant developments. We, of course, are waiting for that address by the American president, which will happen in roughly about 70 minutes from now. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.